Hey you guys, Stockton here from Mediauthentic, and what I want to do in this video is go over a data pipeline for everyone can use, and actually using all free tools and tools that we use for our clients ranging from $20,000 a month to $2 million a month. They are all using these same tools that can benefit everyone. So let's jump right in and talk about this data pipeline for everyone to use. Now, if we break down kind of three components of these pipelines, we start with collection. How do we collect this data from our website? And then where do we send that data? Where does it get stored? So we have the storage component. And then once it's being stored, how can we visualize the data and actually make it useful? So we have to go through each one of these steps. Now for the collection piece, the tool that handles this is actually Google Tag Manager. So Google Tag Manager is a tool that you can install onto your website, and it helps you identify user behaviors. Once you've identified those user behaviors, you can collect that in GTM and then send it off to whatever your storage tool is. So GTM doesn't store the data itself, but it is the tool that can identify the user behavior and then send the details on to whatever your storage tool of choice is, whether that be an ad platform, an analytics platform, or anything like that. Google Tag Manager looks something like this, where you have different tags, triggers, and variables. Tags are what sends the data out. So this is me identifying, for example, here's a Google Analytics event where we are sending data. Tag Manager knows when clicks happen, it knows what click URLs are and the click texts are. So Tag Manager is in charge of collecting this information, organizing it, making it useful, and then sending it off to whatever the other next tool is, whether that be Google Analytics or Facebook or whatever it is. So here's a universal analytics tag. We can see it's an event, categories, click report, and then it's referencing these dynamic variables, and it's able to send this now on to other platforms. So for example, if I was just visiting my site here and I do things like scroll all the way down or I click a button, all of those behaviors can be tracked and collected by Google Tag Manager. And we can see that by checking out the tag assistant here. And we can see that this is a timeline of all of the different events and data that was collected by Google Tag Manager to make usable. So there's things like timers, right? Here's a custom event that says I was interested in the offer that was on that page. Obviously, we have things like the page view, which can then trigger tags for all of the different tools that want to know when there's page views. We got Google Analytics, Google Analytics 4. This would be where you would also see things like your Facebook page view tracking and other things like that. Here's a link click. This helps us know when we can track all of the link clicks on your website. So we know when people visit certain pages, what are they clicking on? And Tag Manager is organizing all of that to make it usable to send off for all of our other tags. So that is the data collection piece and part of our pipeline, and a super important part, and something that every single site that we work with needs to have set up, and we help them set that up. All right, once Tag Manager has organize that data, it's got that timeline of an events, we can send off tags and we can create the triggers and variables and we can get everything ready to send off. Where do we like to send it off? Well, another free tool is Google Analytics, right? So Google obviously has kind of their own suite here that we're talking about. So there's Google Tag Manager, which collects the data, it identifies user behavior, and then it can send it off to wherever. In this case, one of the best storage tools is Google Analytics. Now, of course, we are using Google Analytics 4 now. We're trying to get used to that and adopt Google Analytics 4 because it is the future. And right now it is a bit confusing. It's a bit different than Universal Analytics, but nonetheless, it is a storage tool. And all of the different events that we send from Google Tag Manager onto Google Analytics will be stored there. And then with GA4, Google is now even doing some machine learning and event processing and things like that. But we need a place to send all of this data because it can be a lot of data to store it. Now, inside of the Google Analytics reports themselves, they do have some visualizations, right? But ultimately, one of the prime things to think of analytics as is this storage bucket where you're just sending all of the data. Now, there are default reports and there's things that you can see right here in the interface, which is pretty nice. And this is Google's merchandise account. Google Analytics 4 gives you that flexibility to be able to visualize all of this data that you have collected. So in a sense, GA4 has a bit of each one of the components. They technically have a bit of the collection piece. They have a bit of the, well, they are the storage piece, and they also have a bit of the visualization piece. However, this is not the end of the visualization. A lot of these, you can't do like tons of super customization with these visualizations, but they do give you a basic overview of visualizations. The next piece of our data pipeline for everyone is the actual visualization aspect. And for this, what we use with all of our clients is Google Data Studio. And what Google Data Studio allows you to do is connect your different data sources, whether that be Google Analytics, whether that be Facebook data, Google Ads data, data from BigQuery, wherever this data comes from, connect it into your different reports inside of Google Data Studio to create your own visualizations, to blend data together so we can blend things like our analytics data with Facebook data, or our Facebook data with Google Ads data, and get aggregations of spend and impressions and other these metrics. So Data Studio is that kind of final piece for visualization, where it not only connects to just analytics, because there's already some reports in analytics, but it can connect to all of your different data sources, blend those, combine them here, and create your business dashboard, your performance dashboard, to help you ultimately scale and see what's working and what's not. So with that, that is the data pipeline that we set up for all of our clients and what each one of these tools can help you do. The GTM piece helps you collect the data. It'll help you note, identify users' behavior, and send that off to wherever it is. In this case, we send it to Google Analytics, which allows us to store all of those data. Now, it does have some visualization pieces to it, but ultimately we want to have that data stored in Google Analytics so that we can visualize it with our own reports inside of Data Studio. Now, Data Studio will also allow us to connect to all of our other sources, so our Facebook and Google Ads and BigQuery and whatever else you have, you can connect as a source inside of Data Studio. Now, with these three things, you can know what are people doing on your website, right? You can identify those behaviors to see, are they scrolling? Are they clicking? Are they viewing my offers? Are my offers even interesting? Are they watching the videos? You can track e-commerce data. So you can see, are they viewing different products? Are they clicking add to cart? Are they going through the checkout process? And obviously, one of the major components of all of this is conversion tracking. So we want to make sure that when a purchase happens, we're letting the right tools know. So Facebook ads can work. So Google ads can work. So whatever ads we're running can work. We have to identify when those purchases happen and send the data on to give us things like conversion rates, drop-off rates through different parts of the funnel, so we know exactly where to optimize. And this data pipeline that you can use, whether it's $2,000 a month or $2 million a month or plus, can help everyone solve that problem. And then ultimately, the visualization piece, which actually helps you take action on the data, comes from Google Data Studio and is one of the most important parts of this. So there it is. That is a data pipeline that all businesses can use and that we help our clients set up. If you want to learn more about the metrics for marketers and what can help you scale your business, then head on over to the website mediauthentic.com/YouTube, where you can download the free cheat sheet.